Welcome back to AITSM show. In the last episode of our discussion with Fernando, we discussed how to scale your automation journey. So there was one point which came up there, and we would like to kind of ask more about it and go deep about it in this episode with Fernando again. It is about citizen developer dilemma. So, so Fernando, could you please explain more about it and what would be the significance and what kind of challenges you faced here?
Of course, it's nice to be here again, and thank you for the second invite. Always good to talk and to share our ideas with the audience, and hopefully they will get bring us their own ideas, and we will learn together.
Definitely.
So the citizen developers dilemma is something that we could see sort of especially at the beginning of the RPA market. As I mentioned in our last podcast, I come from the stone age of automation, so I was the skeptical guys about interface automation. So we had all that going on, and with that, the industry kind of brought the subject of look, everybody can develop a bot. This is easy. So that's where the we call it citizen developer nowadays, but at the time was like business developer. It was a different uh, way of saying. But the idea was that anyone can, with a proper tool, can record their job, and once they have recorded, all they had to do is just publish this in some automation platform, and they were free to go, free to be humans again. And what I tell you that, so the first dilemma was that never happened, actually happened. I mean, many vendors position themselves like this easy to go and next finish tool. And even they changed the way they were approaching the market because uh, that is not true. But, I mean, being simply put it, first is because, and I'm going to tell you what is the dilemma, because at the time, I was very skeptical about it. I used to have a lot of discussions in the market saying, look, a recorder, it doesn't help you. It's only for maybe some very simple tasks, maybe for learning. But once you go the second step of automation, you'll see that, oh, this recording thing, it gets not the best element, it gets not the best organization of the job. And that comes for the first thing I always tell customers. Do you want to be sure to fail in your automation journey? Just copy how people do their jobs. Just copy. Just go, oh, they go these, they go there, without thinking,
Right.
right? So that's the first thing. So the first thing is that, look, people does not always do the best way. They do not always have the best optimized way of working. So that's why the recorder was already dead. And the second is that when you go for automation, you're enhancing capabilities. Why would you do exactly what as people are doing? Right? A very simple put it example of that is that once I was talking with a customer, they had this copy and paste. They had a spreadsheet and had to copy and paste each line into
Wow.
their HR system.
Wow.
When you think of a human, how humans think, line one, paste, line two, paste. But when you go for a bot, it's all those spreadsheet lines in the memory, and then I go once. I do not open both applications. I work in, I mean, first spreadsheet, then this HR application, then I'll control it somehow. I have to control it. If there's some outage in the system, how do I know I have where I have stopped? So all those things, they're sort of natural for the human being, have to be think of when you go for automation from an architecture point of view. So the citizen developer was an idea, in my point of view, to sell licenses and not to actually solve and to create a new way of doing activities in the market. So I think that's why I was. I think that's one thing. And the second thing, why people thought at the time that everybody had to be a RPA developer, because RP platforms you can learn in 3 months. I mean, easily, even less than that. 1 month depends on how much time you're going to spend on it. But to know the logistics or financial processes, to understand the dynamics and business rules, that's not something I can learn in 3 months. That's something that's
Exactly.
going to take me a year or maybe more, depending on the
Mhm.
complexity. So, and that's where those business developers, citizen developer, whatever you want to call them, that's where their value are. They know the rules, they know the process, they know a lot of it. So all you have to do is give them some sort of a general idea. They, of course, the more they know, the perfect world, they would know about RPA, automation technologies, and their business. But since the world is not how we want it to be, it's just the way it is, let them bring value with their business knowledge. And then you can help them with the RPA technology to implement that.
Correct, correct. So, just to summarize, like if there are say developers without any business knowledge, they cannot do much things. But business analyst or kind of business people, if they have this power of automation and power of RPA in their hand, they can do way better than them, right? Uh,
Exactly.
right, right,
Exactly.
right.
And there's a second point to it, and which is well, we're seeing a lot of COEs, centralized COEs, becoming bottlenecks of automation. I've seen many companies facing huge backlogs of bots to be developed by the business, and now that me first situation. And I think that sometimes, at least some COEs I've met, they're too focused on developing the automation. And I truly believe that I believe that the citizen development idea, it's a very interesting one. I've seen customers here in Brazil doing very well with that, but they change a little bit aspect of the COE. So instead of becoming the main developer,
Mhm.
they become the main mentors in the organization for automation. So,
Wow,
so
wow.
there's a huge difference. So instead of I'm the one, and why I say that they support the business developers to start their automation journey, to do their first bots, but they spend a lot of time mentoring them. So this is the first point. It's much easier to mentor, I mean, 20 people than to create 20 bots at the same time. So that's the first point. A second point, as a mentor, and the more you mentor, more you see the need for to create your own bot library. So that's a second point. So mentor directed, oriented. And the second is create your own bot library. I mean, you have the same systems, you have your ERP, you have CRM. Why not as you're mentoring and you're seeing people interacting with the same systems over and over? Why don't you create those pieces of reusable pieces of automation? Log into system A. Well, this is already done. I mean, where you're going to put it, it could be on a SharePoint, it could be on a shared folder. It doesn't matter where you're going to play. The key point is that you help people speed things up on their side, so they learn a little bit of automation. They have those pre-ready parts, so you're going to speed them up really, really fast. For example, let me give a sample of that. Reports. There are many automations that are report oriented. So they go to the RP, they generate some reports, and then they need to do some sort of uh, ETL, whatever. When you have those pre-built blocks, the development of that becomes very, very fast. And with the mentoring behind, showing what they are doing. So you can see the scale that can, and at the end of the day, you just, and the third point, which is quality control. I know we cannot, like we talked in our last podcast, it's not the number of bots you have, but what is the success rate of those bots? That's the key point.
Correct.
So, and that's where the COE could not only mentor, but also do a quality control. So before going to production or some first runs of the bot, that's where you should take some quality controls, analyze some adoptions and some best practice in your organization, and that's it. You're doing mentorship as well, but you're looking to it. Okay, oh, please change this, change that. This way is better than that way. So you're still always tell people, think of Apple Store, right? How many apps there are in Apple Store? Millions and millions. How many of them has Apple actually developed? 100, not even 10. I had that number. I think it's 40. But so it's the same, right? If they wanted to develop everything, they wouldn't be able to. So that's, you must see yourselves as an Apple Store of automation in your organization.
Beautiful idea. Actually, like this metaphor, like Apple Store, it's very insightful, very unique idea here. Like having to think automation not just as a just automating few apps, but I think you will be going to explain that like scaled app development process, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly, because once it's a matter of time, right? So every bot takes time to develop. So that's a universal truth.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't have any artificial intelligence that can create bots. I mean, without any human thinking. But it's the scale, and that's what I tell people. The scale is not about how many bots you have. It's how many bots can you do in a single month. That's the real scale. That's the I mean the real number you should achieve. And in order to do that, there's two ways you can do that. One, hire developers as much as you, or freelancers, whatever. Hire from India, from, I don't know. That's one thing. But it's still, you're gonna have to have a lot of project manager, quality control. So even if you hire 1,000 developers, still
Right.
there's going to be some additional work to it. And the second one is like, why do not use, with this mentorship, you can also, remember, mentorship oriented, it's also training oriented. So the CIE is focused on quality control, mentorship, and training. So give monthly training for your business users, for all in your community that wants to learn automation. So you see, if you're doing training, so every month you're doing training, and let's say I'm from financial department, I appoint someone, and there's always someone in the department that is sort of, I mean, technology oriented. This is especially with this new generation. They are born with cell phones. They're digital. I mean,
Right.
by birth. So they are eager. That I've seen this many times. They are eager to do things differently. Why we do
Correct.
this way? So if you get those people and empower them with the RPA platform,
Right.
and that's one thing I like about. I'm gonna do like we call in Brazil a jabá, which is some sort of propaganda. But that's why I don't like tools that charge for developer interface or studio, whatever you call it,
Right.
because I truly believe to scale you have to become a very open and accessible for everybody in the organization, so they
Correct.
can learn, they can develop. Maybe they're going to take a little more, a little less to develop their first spot, but to
Correct.
have the opportunity to interact, and that's why I think the future, most solutions will adapt and will not charge for this studio part of, because that will sort of impact on the speed that the customer can have with this architecture of COEs. We're talking about mentorship and training and all that.
Right. Right. uh, Various unique ideas that have come up with this. If I can summarize, or I can
Sure.
uh, rephrase it, like training mentorship, right? Mentorship actually can maybe a kind of a game changer here, right? Where you can actually uh, put a young mind and a mentor with them, and then have business knowledge, development knowledge, and all together, and scaling with, say, trying to automate bit by bit, as you as you talked about earlier, in 1%, that 1%, you try each and every day, and then making it scale like an Apple store. What an idea, actually, that is. Great, great, great.
Exactly, exactly. That's, I mean, that's a different way of thinking because most RPA initiatives are laying down with IT, and IT tends to control, right? IT wants to control governance, wants to control everything. No, 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 don't go so fast. And I think that we as an IT must change our minds. I'm not saying we should run like crazy and don't think about uh, maintenance and all that. It's not that, but I think RPA goes further. I mean, to the business, it's core, and we should think of it as a daily tool for all companies and keep control of quality, mentorship, but do not focus on developing too much.
Correct, correct, right. So empowering everybody with automation and then automating their own tasks, right?
Exactly,
So that could be
exactly.
the better vision here, and then it's the best vision here, right? So great, great, great insights coming up from these discussions. And before closing this, I would like to ask, like, there is like one more point here. I think we can do another podcast on this one also, like about AI implementation, right? So I think we can actually put that topic or put that discussion for the next episode, right?
Sure, sure. That also a very good one. But you
I
mentioned one thing. You mentioned one thing that I think it's very interesting to say. Why we talked about this mentorship, this scaling, because the RPA developers of your COE of your organization, they should focus on these AI initiatives because
Mhm.
that's something definitely business users won't be able to do themselves. It's something that goes further down in the knowledge of IT, of knowledge of. I mean, this is a long term, much harder approach, but the impact it can have on business goes way beyond of some invoice input or some very task oriented automation.
True, true.
So that's the key point. Step out of the daily activities and help others do it. I mean,
Right.
the automation of daily and simple to medium and complexity case, and focus on high complexity AI, creating your algorithms. Because a lot of AI efforts you will find yourself in a dead end. That
Hmm.
happens, and you
That
have to get
happens.
back.
Yes.
Okay, we took that path of this algorithm, this strategy. We try. No, it didn't work. Let's go back to the beginning. Training set, another algorithm, another some kernel tweaks here and there. All this works, but not at the level of confidence our business request. So, and that is where a COE should focus on.
Right.
Definitely.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Great, great, great discussions and great ideas coming off this one, even. So we'll definitely keep coming back to you for more discussions and more episodes, and probably a series of episodes for this wonderful ideas coming up and deep diving into another ideas, right? So thanks a lot, Fernando, for your time, and we love to have you on our show. Thanks very much.
Thank you. All the best. Always a pleasure to be here. All the best.
Yeah, thank you, and
TK.
yeah, obrigado. Thank you. So, if you love this conversation and discussion, please share it generously. And if you have any questions or additional questions to be asked to our guests and IT pros, please let us know. Watch this space for more talks like this and wonderful insights. Till then, bye bye. Thank you.